Welcome to Go Green session. And this is, as you see there, this is a session series 1. So we have been working with several schools across India, many institutions, educators, and CSR groups. So there have been interest in among people like how do we look at plantation from the environmental education point of view. So as a team, we were wondering like what all we should cover and how do we plan this session. So we have been discussing about it, and we found that one Mahotsav is the best time to actually conduct a session on this particular area, which is plantation for greener future. So I'm really happy to see so many people joining in today to actually plantation seems to be a very easy topic and everyone knows about how to do plantation, but we are going to touch upon certain things which comes from our own experience at CE to how to actually plan and how to do it in a way that we are able to sustain that plantation which you have done and also do it connected with various dimensions. So today's session will be looking into that. And before we get into sessions and meet our today's speakers, I will just introduce you to what all the session will entail. Yeah. So this is, as I mentioned, this is first session of the series. We will be doing more sessions based on today's feedback. So we will be looking at your feedback and interest and also suggesting certain areas where you are looking for such kind of sessions. This is a 2-hour interactive session. It will not be just like a team talking to you, but it will be like both way discussion and communication. So please be ready to respond to some of the questions and also share your queries. And sometimes there are simple questions. You may find it silly, but these are important. So I would encourage everyone to ask questions. You can keep your audio mute if possible. If we have a good connectivity, you can keep your video on. Chat features, we would encourage you to use it if there is any questions we are asking, or in case you are having any question in mind, you can mention that question. Then don't hesitate to ask question and raise hand, and we will allow you to speak. So this is not a webinar, this is a meeting. We can very well interact with each other, and please feel free to share ideas. If you have done something very innovative, if you have some sort of experience, we would request you to please share your knowledge and experience with us. Talking about the agenda of 2 hours, first session is we are looking at first why do we celebrate One Mahotsav, and we have been looking at how Government of India is encouraging people to come together through Mission Life, which is lifestyle for environment. Lifestyle Mission Life has been connected to Eco Club program as well, and many of your schools are part of school Eco Clubs for Mission Life, and there is a very strong connection with plantation. Then we will be touching upon soil preparation, basics of how do we look at soil preparation when we are planning for plantation. Session 3 is about plantation and looking at what do we plant actually when we are planning a plantation in our campus or nearby area or even a community space. Session 4 is looking into methods of plantation because we know we can just take sapling and plant it. But there are certain parts which we must understand if we are planning a plantation in our campus. So this is the overall agenda for 2 hours. And with this, I would be welcoming my colleague Mr. Shreyas Sajeevan. He is master's in environmental sciences and a very passionate environmental advocate. He has been working in this sector for a long time, especially with youth and schools. He is a national operator at Center for Environmental Education for the Eco Schools program, and has been also coordinating Young Reporters for Environment program. So he has been talking to several youth, teachers in school, and even other partners to look into how do we align our programs with various programs. So over to you, Shreyas.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I welcome everyone today to this wonderful session. So let's, start with, take a deep breath and imagine that a group of children under a big shady tree with a gentle, rainfall on a soft soil, the smell of fresh monsoon shower, which we are currently experiencing. And the grandfather tells a story about how he planted a tree when he was a little boy, right? Maybe some of you might have experienced that. So that is the spirit of Van Mahotsav. So the festival of forest. So today we will take you to the journey of Van Mahotsav, across the time, ecology, emotion, action, and to understand how planting a tree is perhaps the most radical and most humble climate action which an individual can take. I mean, each one of you can take. So before that, to begin with, I would like to give a brief about our organization, Center for Environmental Education. So it was established as a center of excellence under Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. The main mission is to it rooted in education is the most powerful tool to drive sustainable development. And through education, we can achieve many things. So using education as a medium for environmental education, awareness, and so how we can, exploit that medium. So like that, our institution was formed, and we work mainly with school, colleges, through various national as well as international program, through eco clubs, eco schools. Paryavaran Mitra Network is one of the strongest school network program, which is spread across India. Then community level program supporting climate resilience, green livelihood, water scarcity, greening, and multiple with both rural as well as urban communities, government. We design special national level campaigns and training, educators, training, and of course the youth. We work with youth, empowering them, empowering change through programs like UNEP's TTPC, Plastic Tide Turner, Young Reporters for the Environment, and mostly driving them and to take multiple actions for the planet. So, like we can say proudly that we work with thousands of schools and institutions across India, and especially with the plantation and greening, we have worked with many institutions and planting lakhs of trees across India. From maybe north to south, from urban campuses to tribal belt. So we have mainly focused on native species and community ownership and ecological integrity. So this was an overall what CE has done through past 40 years. So moving ahead with One Mahotsav. What is One Mahotsav? So let's go through little bit past the story behind One Mahotsav. So it was a year 1947. So India was just gained independence. So as you know, our rivers are sacred but choked, because we were going through the industrialization and developmental stage. Our forest was sinking, our soil was eroding, and of course, our people were struggling. So during that time, a civil servant and botanist named M.S. Randhawa realizes that without trees or without plants or green space, there can be no freedom for from famine, drought, or desertification. So he launched a tree plantation drive in Punjab for a week, mobilizing schools, youth, children, small children, farmers, officers, community from the village, to take an action and to plant a sapling. Then in 1950, the idea was adopted by our then Union Ministry of Agriculture and Food, K.M. Munshi, and he called it One Mahotsav, the Festival of Forest, to make it as like a national celebration, linking it to India's monsoon, soil health, and rural well-being. We'll get to that how it will impact soil health and how it will impact our rural community, generate livelihood, and how it will be well-being for everyone. So and then onwards, our great leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru, Rajendra Prasad, and other leaders personally started to celebrate this celebration. Personally started sapling and inspiring thousands to do so. So it was not just a policy, it was a participation. It was not just a science, it was a culture. It was culturally significant to India, and it was not just an action, to plant a tree. Chalo aaj ek ped uga dete hai. It was more like an education, and moreover, it was a inheritance which we pass on to the next generation. So One Mahotsav was born, and like that, every year, the first week of July, we celebrate it as an arrival of monsoon, when earth opens up its arm for a new life. So it has a very emotionally and culturally significance. And even older than this, there were some myth and metaphors that, in India, people where sages meditates and banyan tree where community gathered and neem used as Ayurveda. So overall, tree has a very significance in our life, as a guardians of our life. So with this, we will talk about what is a significance, why Van Mahotsav is very significant in today's life.
Mm.
So now we know what is Van Mahotsav and how it is shifted from an ancient time to the modern world. We are living in a world where scientists call it Anthropocene, period where human activity is altering the planet faster than the natural system can adapt. So in storm of that crisis, tree are our first responder, right? So Van Mahotsav is not just symbolic, but also very important for our today's survival. So one by one, we will go through each and everything, how it is impacting, how it is helping us. So first one is climate action. So tree are a natural and most elegant carbon capturing technology, which we are copying it today as a, making machines and everything, but it was inspired by the tree. So through photosynthesis, you all know that they absorb carbon dioxide and primary greenhouse gas and store it in their trunk, branch, and leaf, and slowly they release back oxygen. A few examples like banyan tree can sequestrate up to 110 kgs of CO2 each year. And similarly, there are thousands of native species that can remove 25 to 50 tons of carbon dioxide annually. But more than number, tree provide climate resilience. They cool the air, reduce wind speed, buffer climate weather. Similarly, clean air. Air pollution is one of the most leading cause of premature death in India. So tree act as a natural filter. Their leaf trap particulate matters. They absorb harmful uh, gases like carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide. So basically, a dense cluster of native tree in our urban area can reduce air pollution by 7 to 25%. Second comes water security. Tree are a guardian of our water cycle. Their root anchor soil, prevent runoff and erosion, slow down rain, cools the air. And in fact, they also foster watershed, which is known as improve water quality and availability in per specific locality. So Van Mahotsav encouraged tree plantation just as the monsoon begin, syncing with nature's rhythm to boost water retention and reduce flood. And next comes soil health as well as livelihood generation because it is linked to each other. Soil is a foundation of all life. So it improves soil health by stores water, hosts beneficial microbes, and it anchors soil. It's also the leaf from the forest or a tree enriches the soil, it also helps nitrogen fixing bacteria. And of course, overall, our tree aren't just ecological asset, it is also economic allies. Like millions of people across India, especially in tribal, rural, and forest community, they completely rely on the forest producers. Biodiversity protection is one of the main important thing. And natives tree support pollinator, birds, butterfly, fungi, and multiple microorganisms like who play an essential role in seed dispersion, soil regeneration, pest control, and pollination. So a people tree can home for over 200 species of insect, bird, and small mammals. So that is that's how a tree is. And of course, urban well-being. Urban heat island is a big issue today. Concrete trap lots of heat and stresses and noise. But the tree, especially, avenue plantation, which we call, or a forest, urban forest, and a rooftop garden, it helps for cooling, lowering down the temperature, noise buffering, soften the city noise, and aesthetic value. Of course, it add on the always green is again, it is a peaceful. It gives us lots of peace, the green space. And finally, the heart of any movement is our young people. So Van Mahotsav brings student outdoor, away from screen time, into the soil and sun. And also it it's a chance to understand the life cycle of the tree, feel the joy of plantation, observing biodiversity, as well as take responsibility for something living. So that is very important. So as a child, who plants a tree and names it and nurture it, care it, it farly more becomes a climate leader or eco-entrepreneur or citizens, or at least we can say a responsible citizenship. So one Mahotsav creates a living classroom, and which learning happens through touch, observation, and care. So this is a brief significance how uh, one Mahotsav brings in. So with that, we will have a small activity. So you all can see, there are some myths given. So what you have to do, you have to match it with the facts. So facts will be given to you. So how you have to play it is you have to number it. Okay. So reply in chat that can we have the fact also? Okay. So you have now myths and fact. Now it is a little bit jumbled up, right? So you have to match it. So what myth number A is equal to the fact? So you have to write in the chat box, like one, whichever alphabet from the fact. Okay, let it be 1B or 2A, something like that. So you have got 60 seconds. You have to quickly reply, what are, correct matches to the myths. So number one is all that green is useful. So which one is a correct fact? Eucalyptus grow fast, so they are better. Plantation is equal to forest restoration, and urban plantation solves air pollution. So the correct answers are, ma'am, next, yes. So A to C, you know, I'll just read out for you. All the green is useful. Not all greens are useful. Considering native species and local ecology can harm biodiversity and modify the soil system. Exotic species like eucalyptus depletes lots of groundwater and does not support local wildlife. And plantation equals to forest. Of course, it somehow useful to the forest restoration, but again, it is a monoculture with limited ecological value. Again, urban tree alone does not solve the problem of air pollution. We also need to cut down our emission. So that's how we, do it. So thank you all. I hope you have some knowledge about you know the myths and fact. So moving ahead with what is Mission Life and how it is aligned to the One Mahotsav. So you all know Mission Life launched by our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi during UN Climate Conference COP 26. So it stands for Lifestyle for Environment, and basically it's asking to adopt simple and sustainable habits, right? And it mostly focuses on climate change policy to climate conscious people. So instead of relying on a big system or technology, you know, ask yourself one question, like, what I can do differently. We call it a handprint action, which is a concept of, CEE developed long back, like, what an individual can do in our home, school, community, and everywhere, to reduce the harm to the planet. So this is where One Mahotsav comes in, and One Mahotsav is one of the most visible expression of life. Like, so it combines daily choice, cultural root, and collective celebration. Now, think it in this way: when you plant a native tree during One Mahotsav, you are offsetting carbon, climate action. When you choose to walk instead of drive that day, you are reducing emission. When your school maintain a tree diary, watering sampling, water sapling, adopt a green space. That's how life is aligned to the habit being practiced long way to the to the festival ends. And perfect example is Ek Ped Na Ma Ke Naam. One of the most heart touching. So Ek Ped Ma Ke Naam is like a most innovative way these two movement can come together and as an initiative. So Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam means a tree in the name of my mother's name, which was launched recently in 2024 during World Environment Day, encouraging citizens to plant a tree as a tribute to their mother, which is symbolic, spiritual, and emotional. And PM himself planted a people tree. Again, people tree, as I mentioned, it has a very, very strong significance. It's known to oxygen release even at night. So because overall, why mother? Because why we link river and tree to the mother, because it nourishes without expectation, shelter us without any harm, from any harm, and provide us life, strength, and shade, and keep giving long, you know, it just gives, instead of expecting anything. So again, this campaign is very personal, it also attached to the personal story. So overall, student, teacher, and everyone, we should take an responsibility, and at least this one Mahotsav, we should plant a native tree. So with this, we will now understand how we can improve soil health by following few scientific method, how we can prepare soil for our plant. For that, I would like to request Parul Gupta
Thank you,
to.
Shreyas. Thank you, Shreyas, for the wonderful insight about the Van Mahotsav. I think even I got to know a lot of new things which we usually celebrate, but we don't know about it. So Mahotsav is a festival, so it's a 1 week festival. Let's celebrate it with full like enthusiasm and motivation. So, and I can see the enthusiasm in the group also, the way everyone responded and answered. सो आई होप आप लोग को मजा आ रहा होगा, इंटरेस्टिंग लग रहा होगा टॉपिक. और इसके साथ ही आई विल इनवाइट माय कलीग मिस पारुल गुप्ता. शी इज मास्टर्स इन एनवायरमेंटल मैनेजमेंट एंड वेरी कीन नेचर ऑब्जर्वर. She has experience in conservation technique. She has learned about geospatial mapping, and she is working with CEE under a climate change education program for schools called Generation for Climate Action. And she is leading a national level program. So I welcome Parul to take a session on soil preparation. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the kind introduction. It's lovely to see all the teachers and also the students. I could see MES boys and students joining from Chennai school. I welcome you all. Now I would like to take you all to the next session, which is soil preparation. So before getting into the plantation, let's understand a few basics about soil. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Yeah, so before getting into the discussion of soil, let me understand from you also. Do you understand anything, the types of soil or anything that you would like to share? I would like to, have the answers from the students first if they would like to answer. Anything that they know about soil, the types of soil which is found in India, major types. After your answers, I'll start the conversation from my side. I would like you also to please take part in this discussion. We have many teachers joining in from different parts of the country. So anyone would like to answer? Okay, we can have red soil, alluvial soil in the chat. Anyone can unmute also and can speak about few words or few types, just the names if you can just tell, and then we can move forward. Okay, we have the answers in the chat, red, yellow, clayey, loamy. Okay, so we have almost all the names now. So let me move on to the discussion. Yeah, so basically we have major three types of soil, which is sandy, clay, and loamy. Sandy is having the particle size maximum, which is around 0.5 to 2 mm. And then we have clay soil, which is having the smallest soil particles. And loamy is a mixture of sandy, clay, and silt. If I'll go to the next graphic, then if you can see here, then clay, sand, and silt. These are the three major types of particles present in the soil. I am sure that you are already aware about the terms. So let me also just brief. Sandy is the largest particle, then comes the silt, and then comes the clay. So clay is the smallest particle of the soil. Loamy soil is a mixture of all three, clay, sand, and silt. So if we see this map of India, it talks about the major types of soil present. So if you will see, you were already answering alluvial, black soil, red soil. So through this map, I would like to, highlight where exactly this soil is found. So why this discussion is relevant when we talk about plantation is, depending on which part of the country you are in, you should understand the soil type first before moving on to the plantation, because not all plants are suitable for all soil types. So the plants which are which are growing in the sandy soil will not grow in the alluvial soil because their adaptation and everything differs. So if you can see the map, you can read that there are different types of soil like alluvial, red, yellow, black, arid, desert soil, and mountainous soil. Can anyone tell which is the most fertile one out of these? We have the names already. You have also answered. So any which soil type is the most fertile soil type found in India? Quickly, we can have the answer. Okay, Kirti ma'am has given the right answer. Indira ma'am also, Aruna ma'am also. Yes, it is alluvial soil, which is found in the Gangetic, Brahmaputra, and also the Indus River floodplains. So this is the soil where it is, the maximum agriculture takes place. And then we have red soil and black soil also. The color actually, the red color is because of the iron content, which is highest in the red soil. That is why the color of the soil is red. Black soil is formed by the lava, and in the desert soil, the maximum content is sand, which is the largest particle. So, due to which it cannot retain the water much. That is why the vegetation is very sparse in terms of deserts. In the forest and mountainous soil, it is the humus content is higher, and we can see the evergreen forest majorly in the Himalayan region. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Yeah, so now let's discuss about the preparation of soil before we get into the plantation. So first thing that we should do while selecting the site for the plantation is we should also understand if there is any weed or any unwanted plants growing nearby area. If in the site there is any weed is any unwanted plant which is not required or doesn't have any economic significance or also compete with the natural vegetation. So we can clear the site by removing thorns and weeds. The second step is the topsoil. You understand the topsoil, which is around 30 centimeter, 0 to 30 centimeter. Till that depth, we have topsoil. So the first step is to mix the topsoil. How do we mix it? Is through the instrument, through different field instruments. We can mix the topsoil. What difference it makes is it aerates the soil. It aerates the soil, and it also kills the unwanted microbes. Like when the sunlight will be exposed to the inner soil material, the microbes will be killed, and also to break the clumps if there are any. So before preparing the site for plantation, first thing is that remove the topsoil, set it aside. Second is remove the subsoil. The soil which is below the topsoil is subsoil. The topmost layer of the earth crust, which is till 30 centimeter, is topsoil. Where you remove that topsoil, keep it aside. Remove the subsoil, keep it aside. And then to fill that plantation area, put that topsoil first and then the subsoil. That is the idea while we do plantation. So the topsoil should go beneath the subsoil. Is it clear to everyone, or shall I take you through once again? Topsoil, subsoil, are we clear? Okay. We also have humus. Humus is the organic matter which is present on the topmost layer of the ground, where you can see dead leaves and dead organic matter, decomposing organic matter, which is called humus. So that also will be mixed if you will, follow these steps. Next slide, please. Yeah. So after we have, followed the steps, the next step is to check the drainage also. For example, if the area has lot of water which is collected, then the roots will rot. Especially the clay soil, if it is, clay soil holds maximum water. It becomes very slippery. So if the clay soil content is higher and also it receives more rainfall, then the roots will rot. So that also we need to keep in mind the drainage of the soil before we move to the plantation. And we have to ensure that the water can drain away and the soil is properly mixed, and also the soil texture has to be maintained. To improve the soil, we can use natural manure, which you can prepare by digging a pit and managing your wet waste properly, which we also teach through different programs at CE. composting, the method of composting, which can be easily done at your backyards, at the school campus. So natural manure is something which we can, utilize while preparing the ground for plantation. That is all that we have on soil. Next session, we have plantation and native species. Over to you, Preetima.
Thank you, Parul, और big clarifying the basics of soil preparation. तो मिट्टी की तैयारी बहुत जरूरी होती है, जैसे पारुल ने भी एक्सप्लेन किया है कि हमें जो ऊपर की जो मिट्टी की परत होती है उसको हटाना होता है, और हम फावड़ा यूज कर सकते हैं, खुरपी यूज कर सकते हैं उसको करने के लिए, और वो करना बहुत जरूरी है प्लांटेशन के पहले। तो वो शायद सबसे जरूरी स्टेप होता है। हम पहले सोचते हैं कि पौधा कैसे करें, इसके बाद आता है कि पौधा कौन सा होना चाहिए। तो इसलिए हमारा सेशन 3 है प्लांटेशन एंड नेटिव स्पीशीज। तो ये टर्म आप बार बार सुन रहे हैं, तो मे बी इस सेशन में यू विल गेट आंसर कि व्हाई आर वी सेइंग नेटिव स्पीशीज अगेन एंड अगेन। फॉर दिस सेशन वी हैव अ रिसोर्स पर्सन, मिस अनुजा अनिल. She is a passionate environmental educator and naturalist. She is a storyteller and she loves to exchange stories. तो stories में बात करना बहुत पसंद है, श्रेयस को भी पसंद है और पारुल को भी पसंद है, क्योंकि हम सभी environmental educator हैं। तो कोशिश करते हैं कि हमने जो भी आप लोगों से बात की है, सीखा है, इंटरेक्ट किया है, तो उसको हम फर्दर डिसेमिनेट करें। तो वो अनुजा को भी बहुत पसंद है, एंड शी इज वर्किंग विद CEE एज अ फील्ड एजुकेटर अंडर क्लाइमेट एजुकेशन चेंज एजुकेशन इनिशिएटिव at Chennai, and her master's is in environmental studies and conservation practices. So I'll invite Anuja to take us on and brief us about what is plantation and how do we select non-native species and what are native species.
Thank you for such a lovely introduction, ma'am. I hope my voice is clear. Okay, cool. So okay, thank you. So before we segue into plantation and native species, I really want to important the highlight of knowing your soil, because a school that I'm working with, they were prepared to create a kitchen garden. They had the saplings already, and then they sat and realized they don't have soil to, really plant the plants. Okay, so next slide, ma'am. So now we will be talking about what do we need before we start planting. And I know we are all now excited to plant something. And before we plan what should we plant, we have a very important aspect, which is to decide where should we plant. So first thing is to map space available. You can map it in your backyard, in the school, or any community spaces, And once you find a space, you will also try to understand what are the general trees planted in that area. And you can either choose to continue planting those same trees, or you can plant something different for a change. And if you are planting in an institution.
Hello.
Hi, Sumi, Miss Sumi. Yeah, we'll get to your questions after this session, or you can type them on the chat as well. Okay. Yeah. So one important thing when you are going to plant in your school or college or any institution is to check up with the development plans, because say you have put saplings and then 1 year later it was decided that there was another building that's going to come up, so all your efforts will go to waste, right? So yeah, that is very important. Refer to institutions building development plans and plant. Apart from understanding the space to plant, we will also have to understand what are the environmental conditions to plant. So I'll give an example. I live in Chennai, and in Chennai, we have drastic soil differences. If you are living near the beach, you need to plant trees that survive the sandy soil of the beach. If we are living near a wetland, there are different trees to plant. If it is in a forest area, everything is different, right? And like how Miss Parul beautifully explained the importance of understanding soil, and she's explained the layers and how to go about it. That same thing applies here as well. And something else to consider is the water availability and the temperature. For some trees may not survive certain temperatures. Yeah, so we'll go ahead. and understand what are the different types of trees. So can anyone guess, in India, we have a forest divided into two general types. So if you could answer that, what are our forest types? There are two main forest types. I'll wait for 30 seconds if nobody knows the answer. Protected and reserve forest. Okay, in terms of geography, that is correct. Protected reserve forest. But I'm talking in terms of biology and in terms of ecology of the environment. Dude, and also I'll give you a hint. Leaf. Leaf is a hint. Whether it sheds or not. Yes. Miss Kirti is answered right. Tropical and temperate. So yeah. So answer is evergreen and deciduous. Yeah, I see the answer coming now. So evergreen, as the name suggests, the trees are green forever, and deciduous is when the trees shed their leaves because harsh winter is coming up. And in South India, we mostly have evergreen trees. We will see the map. Can we keep the map now? Yeah. So this is our rich biodiversity of natural vegetation in India. And we have this 5 major types. And apart from these 5 major types, there are many subtypes as well present in each ecoregion. And look at the diversity of trees we have. Can you imagine? And all these trees that support the life and feeds this country. Not just feeding us, but also the animals and insects. So this is India's ecoregion, and up in the Himalayan belt from western to eastern Himalayas, you see there are mountain forests, and towards the west, which is Rajasthan, you have tropical thorn forest. So if someone is planning to plant trees in Rajasthan, they should not go ahead and plant dense Western Ghats forest trees there. It will not survive. You have to plant thorn forest trees there. So because of the heat, right? And if you come and look at South India, you have tropical evergreen forest and tropical deciduous forest. Because we are closer to the equator, there's more heat and there's also more humidity. Right. And there is also tropical evergreen forest in the Northeast India as well. So can we go to the next slide? Now we are coming to an exciting part. I am sure all of you would have seen these trees. So we are now classifying all the trees into 3, which is native, introduced or exotic, and invasive. Invasive means that the trees harm the environment. The trees are drawing up a lot of water, or they are spreading very fast, and they are also destroying the local habitat. Introduced or exotic species of trees can be the trees that come from outside. So invasive plants are mostly coming from outside, introduced by us through trade, intentionally or unintentionally. Sometimes, earlier times, unintentionally, they would carry different products through ship, and they would unintentionally plant seeds of a different country here. So introduce could also be from outside, but it is not harming the habitat. While native trees is what has been here and is growing exceptionally well because the weather conditions support the trees really well. Can we look at the tree types? Okay, yeah. So I have a challenge for you. I believe most of us are familiar with almost all of these trees. If we don't know the names, we would have definitely seen them. So these 9 trees, I would like you to classify. So 3 of them are native, 3 of them are exotic or introduced. That is, they are not from India, but they have been brought from outside. And 3 of them are invasive, harming our local ecosystems. So can you type on the chart? And I would like to see how many of you really know our neighborhood trees. Jack. Okay, let's start with the familiar ones. Native, I think a lot of you would be familiar. So native is okay. Yes, I can see the answer. Imli is what? Imli is native or introduced or invasive. You have to type that also. I think we can reveal the answers now as I can see a lot of excitement. Yeah. Okay, prepare to be surprised. But Imli is not native. Imli has come from outside, specifically tropical Africa. It's come from tropical Africa and it was introduced to India. And I know it is a shocking news, especially as someone who uses imli in almost every dish. Yeah, so imli is not from our country, but imli has naturalized. It's not destroying the habitat. It has gelled well with the other trees. Like it has formed friends. It's now part of our community, and other animals also enjoy the fruits of tamarind. So yeah, whoever answered that Imli is native, I understand why you said that, but Imli is not native. As for native trees, we have Kachana, which almost all of you answered right, or Kadamba. Because when I read about this tree, I heard the word Kadamba, and I am um I'm a Bharatanatyam dancer, so a lot of lyrics had that word Kadamba, and only now I understood. Oh, this is that tree. Which because these dance pieces are about Lord Krishna and a lot of myths, not mythology is tied to this tree as well, and it has very pretty flowers, so you should go look out for this tree, especially in North India it is found. Then jackfruit. uh, I love jackfruit. I love all the products of jackfruit that is native. And we also have a rubber tree. Then gulmohar is also introduced from outside. And and I just want to quickly ask how many of you in the chart, so how many of you in this group have played with gulmohar flowers, and when it falls, you know, the sepals that is below the petals, there will be leaf-like thing. Yeah, so how many of you have plucked off the sepals and made nail extensions? I can see Preeti ma'am has lifted her hand. So if you haven't done that yet, please go, because right now it is gulmohar season and there are gulmohars flowering everywhere. And that is an experience everyone should have. So go take the sepals. Oh, you have tasted. It's tangy petals. I like that. But please don't go around tasting all flowers. It is no, unless you know if it's edible or not. Miss Nandini. Okay. And it also, I used to eat. It's one of the bright petals. I see. And so Gulmohar really beautifies our streets, right? So that is one thing to understand. Lot of introduced or exotic trees have beauty as a value because especially in, I can speak for Chennai and Bangalore because I'm familiar with these two places. When the Britishers came, there were also botanists that came with the Britishers, and then they saw that the landscape was mostly dry and thorny. So we saw the map previously, right? And in the central part, it's relatively more arid, more dry, less humid. So there will be more thorny, drier, woody plants, and it's not dense forest. So the Britishers felt that they need to beautify Bengaluru, and that is how Lal Bagh and these huge parks with dense trees have formed. And all the avenue trees you see are most likely planted by the Britishers or somebody else. And yeah, through their trade they brought it from different countries. So it's nice to know that it was nice for me to know that the tree next to my house, um, uh, it's a very huge tree, almost 200 years old, could have been planted by a British botanist, right? So they have brought these avenue trees, and that's why they have been introduced to make the city look more green and beautiful. And some of them also have economic values. And as for invasive trees, it is that earlier we did not know what was its impact. They were also either introduced without knowing the impact it will have on our local ecology. And that is why lantana was brought here, because it attracts so much butterflies and so many insects. Eucalyptus, we all know what is eucalyptus is used. Eucalyptus oil smells so good. It has a lot of purposes. The wood is used. And Prosopis juliflora, vilayati kikar or jungly kikar, or in Tamil we call it as Seemai Karvelam. This one was brought in because of the wood and for firewood purpose in particular. In fact, in 1960s in Tamil Nadu, there was a food crisis, and people were struggling with the economy. So they seed bombed Prosopis juliflora through the coast. Seed bombed an invasive plant without knowing the impacts of it. So you'll find a lot of Prosopis growing into the sea. It's wreaked havoc in these ecosystems, and now we are slowly trying to reverse our action. And this is because we did not know that it is an invasive plant. But now we know, and that is our responsibility right now, to plant the right tree in the right habitat. Next slide, ma'am. Yeah. So yes, selection of tree species. It's not as easy as it sounds, but it's not intimidating as well, because I will explain where and what trees can be planted. And yeah, neem and people tree are found everywhere, almost everywhere in India. And it can be safely planted unless you are in Himalayas. So there you have different set of trees like fir, pine, oak. And then if you belong to Central India, you can plant Arjun tree and Indian bale. And if you live in South India like me, Pongamia is amazing tree. It is a really good carbon sequesterer, which means that it sucks in a lot of carbon dioxide from the air. And bamboo also amazing at sequestering carbon. So if for those who don't know the term carbon sequestration, it means that well, we know this basic concept, right? When we breathe, we take in oxygen, release carbon dioxide. And the trees, they take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen. So carbon sequestration is the simple concept of absorbing carbon dioxide from the air and reducing its quantity in the atmosphere. So yes, trees have so much values and does so much for us, and carbon sequestration is one of them, especially in terms of in the light of climate change, where carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas, is contributing to global warming. Planting trees is a climate action that you can take. And yeah, also plant native species. And when you're planting, don't plant this, try to avoid not planting the same species. Try to mix different species of trees, because it will support the local biodiversity. More insects and animals will come and live, and you will create a very biodiverse ecosystem. Can't plant Pongamia in central India. It will be hard to grow, as I am not sure if it is planted in central India. But Pongamia is more commonly found in Tamil Nadu from my experience. But if it is, like I said, no, there can be introduced tree species as well. Also, if you are asking this question to understand what trees are good at carbon sequestration, in Central India, we'll talk about that as well in the upcoming slides. So quick summary. Avoid planting same species, because yes, they are vulnerable to pests, because if one plant gets infested, then all the plants will get infested. And yeah, climate extremes also, it will be hard for the tree to survive. And if if you don't have diverse trees, then whatever these problems are, all the trees are likely to be affected by it. Now, in a diverse planted tree, you can see the benefits. It retains soil moisture as well, and the above ground carbon stocks is higher because you're slowly building an ecosystem. And it also enhances, it also promotes biodiversity. Now let's explore some native species and some commonly planted trees in India. Banyan. Do I need to talk about banyan? I'm sure all of us here have experienced, felt the peace of banyan tree, felt the I can almost smell. I know the smell of oxygen because I've been in banyan tree. I mean, you don't smell oxygen, but it's such a divine, beautiful tree, and yeah, it will be a thing of pride to plant banyan. It's also India's national tree, and it has one of the largest canopies in the world. And here is a fun fact. One of the largest banyan canopy is as big as 2.1 hectares. And that tree's name is Timmamma Mari Manu. It's found in Anantpur in Andhra Pradesh. And this tree is more than 550 years old. So banyan trees, as you know, it has aerial roots, as you can see in this picture. And through the roots, they keep growing and they keep spreading. And that's how this one tree, Timmamma Mari Manu, has spread to 2.1 hectares of land. Yeah. So next one. Also, my colleague Shreyas mentioned, you will find so many birds, insects, small animals in banyan tree. I would highly recommend you to go sit under a banyan tree for at least 30 minutes and observe what comes to the tree. And you will be pleasantly surprised. Or just, just have a good time under the tree, because I'm sure this tree is found in almost every place. Okay. So next tree is jamun tree, and right now in Chennai we have a lot of it is jamun season as well. I'm not sure if it is like that everywhere in the country. If that is the case, do tell me in the chat if jamun is available in
Here
North.
also, yeah, in North.
Wonderful, wonderful. So these purple trees, they make your tongue purple. And also a fun thing about this tree is if you pluck the leaf and roll it really tightly, you can make a flute out of it. And I recently a kid showed me that, and I was so pleasantly surprised. So that's how we form stories with trees and we connect with trees. And this connection is what really helping us conserve and protect, right? So I just and so plant your tree, grow your trees, and then play with them, and also let the future generations play with the trees and not the phones. So yeah, there's a lot of benefits of plantation drive. Yeah, next tree is people tree, and it is also one of a religiously important tree, very sacred, found in a lot of sacred groves, and it's known to release good amount of oxygen. One of the trees that can release very good amount of oxygen. And uh, I love the shape of the leaf. So honestly, planted just because the leaf shape is really good, because what a unique, pretty shape with the line coming on top. And actually, I want you to also notice the number you're seeing under the names of the trees. Carbon sequestration rate approximately 20 to 40 kgs of carbon dioxide per tree per year. So to put it in a visual, 1 kg of carbon dioxide comes to a big beach ball size. So like this big. And driving your car for 4 kilometers, that is using up half liter of petrol, will release 1 kg of carbon dioxide. So just imagine that, no? For 4 kilometers of petrol, We have 1 kg of carbon dioxide releasing. So see how many trees you need to undo your transportation release carbon dioxide, right? I don't want you to worry about it. But this is the importance of trees. Trees can bring them down. And it has to be the right tree in the right habitat. That is very important. Neem tree. Neem tree is my favorite tree, by the way. It is also a hardy, drought-resistant tree. And in I will be honest, in Chennai, there we had a couple of years of drought, and neem was the only tree with green leaves. And that was really surprising for me. Something about it was really inspiring. And the leaves are also having medicinal properties. When I was 7 years old, I had chicken pox, and I used neem leaves to soothe myself. It was really effective to treat the condition. I'm sure all of you would know some or other medicinal properties of not just neem, but any of these trees that I mentioned. Okay, next tree. Amaltas. Amaltas. How many of you have seen this yellow golden shower tree? It's also known as Indian laburnum. Okay, I'm seeing on the in school campus we have people trees since 1906. Wow, that's impressive. Also, uh, using RO wastewater for neem tree, I am not sure. There have been reports where it could harm the plant's growth, but please find out. We will have to find out more about that. If anybody has experience using RO water for neem tree, please share it in the chat. Yeah, so Amaltas, have you seen, is your favorite tree? Also forecasts monsoon. Yes, you're right. There's an interesting thing about Amaltas, a short story that I want to share. Um, I My roots are Kerala, and in Kerala, we have this festival called Vishu. Vishu is a very important festival for us. It comes in the month of April. I hope you know. If you don't know, we can read about it. Anyway, this flower is very important for us in the festival. We need this flower to begin our festival, and to begin our ceremony. And in my village, this flower is not flowering at the Vishu time. So the onset of this flower is actually not forecasting monsoon, but onset of flower means the onset of summer. And because the summers are earlier, the flower is flowering much before our Vishu festival, which is when we need it. So by the time Vishu comes, we don't have enough flowers for everyone. And there's like a competition. We'll all just go out and grab, waking up at 3 a.m. to find the tree and get the flowers. And this has been studied. If you go to season watch and look at this tree's flowering, you can see that throughout the years, the flowering has shifted earlier, indicating a shift in the onset of summer, which means now our summers are early. And this is also an indicator of climate change. So we have a lot of signs that climate is changing around us, which is more the reason why we need to plant more trees to combat that, right? Next is Arjun tree, beautiful tree with beautiful flower. And see, it sequesters 30 to 50 kg of carbon per tree per year. And also it's highly valuable in Ayurvedic medicine. Next. Mahua. Central Indian forests. Mahua is really important, especially for the tribal livelihoods. And its flowers are used for food and fermentation. And it supports and promotes community-based forest management because it is also of economic value, and it's very resilient to dry conditions and crucial for dryland agroforestry. Lovely tree, Mahua. I can see how you like this tree a lot. And Yeah, so these plants have been growing much before us, and they're always giving us, right? So maybe it's time for us to give back to the plants by taking good care of them and planting more of them. And then okay, wait, I missed a tree. Yeah, Kadamba, we talked about it, and now Pongamia. We can just we can yeah so now Pongamia we have and it is also, like I mentioned, does really good carbon sequestration, and it's also used for biofuel production, the oil rich seeds, and it thrives in coastal drylands and river banks areas. And Indian almond is one of my favorite trees to observe the leaves, because it turns orange, yellow, and then bright red. So beautiful to see the color change in the leaves. And this Indian almond is not the almond we buy commercially, but how many of you have eaten the almond in the center? It's small, and I even sometime purple. Yeah, even sometime it is purple in color. So this is also drought resistant species, and you can see some of these trees, they bind the soil well, and they really help um, avoid flood, mitigate flood, and they're resistant to these severe weather changes. And sultry also is commonly found in central India, and they can grow really tall and up to 30 meters tall. Sal forests are have been talked spoken about a lot, and when for the first time when I went to Pachmadi, I was like, where is Sultry? Where is Sultry? I really wanted to see this tree, and such a beautiful tree, very tall, and also good in carbon sequestration and source of livelihood for local communities, and produces a lot of products for us to use as well. Teak also very similar. It produces high value timber, from which furnitures are made. And see, the teak, it prefers moist and well drained soil, and is ideal for long term plantations. This is something you can consider. Teak is a really good plant to plant as well. Um, and they're also very good at carbon sequestration. Next is bamboo. How many of you know that bamboo is not exactly a tree? What is bamboo exactly? Termite resist. Okay. Bamboo is a grass. Yeah, Amarjit ma'am, you're right. It's a grass. And fun fact, more than forest habitat, the grassland ecosystem sequesters more carbon. And as you can see here, um, in 1 hectare of bamboo, it can sequester carbon approximately 200 to 400 tons, not kgs, but tons of carbon dioxide in 5 years. So grasses are actually very good sequesterers of carbon, and which is why it is again really important that you reach out to your local nurseries or local guides or local botanists and ask them, what plant should I plant here? Um, and we next have Indian rosewood, which is also used in furniture and musical instruments. And I really love this fact, ensuring carbon is locked in products for decades. Okay, next. Yeah, so this is our diversity, and I actually really love this map because it shows Indian state trees, and most of these trees have high, not just economical value, but cultural. And do you see your state tree on this map? Actually, you know what I really liked? Uh, how in Delhi, Gulmohar tree is its capital tree, so to say. Because in most of the other regions, it's all native plants, mostly. But in Delhi, Gulmohar tree is an introduced but naturalized tree. And for me, what that means is how a lot of people from different regions have migrated to Delhi, including my grandparents. They found home there, like how the Gulmohar tree has found home in our country, right? So I feel like it's a very right choice for making Delhi's tree.
Thank you, Anuja, for wonderful stories and your storytelling style about trees. And I think it was not at all boring to learn about so many species and in very interesting way. I think everyone was in their childhood memories. I was looking at the chat, everyone was talking about, I tasted it, I made this something from this, and everyone had a like fun story to tell. But I hope we can have a session where everyone can talk about their stories about their trees. So we are into now final last session, which is about methods of plantation, because we have learned the process. Now, how do we do it? So we will take you through about the session 4, which is on methods of plantation. Uh, what do you think are there different methods of plantation? Do you know any methods which you can share in the chat? What kind of methods have you heard about, or maybe budding? Okay. Anything else? Plantation methods. Because we are into plantation season and one Mahotsav is going on, and I think every school must have planted a lot of trees. Grafting, okay. Anyone else? Direct seeding, wonderful. So I broadcast seeding, good. So we will now one by one understand what are the different plantation methods to actually understand from our own how to use those methods in our campus. So first two methods, because there are different methods, I will be talking about traditional pit plantation, which is like you dig a pit and then sapling is actually transferred in that, and then we close the pit. And that is for large scale afforestation. Usually forest department follows it. Even roadside plantation is done. If you have traveled across on the highway, you will find that there are 3 layers of trees which are usually planted by the forest department. So traditional pit plantation is very common and conventional method to plant. Miyawaki is the new method which was introduced uh, by a person in Japan. I will be talking about that in the second slide. So it is a method where we can work on land restoration, where we found there is a lot of degraded land and it acts as a carbon restoration. And then talking about one of you have mentioned, right, which is direct seeding. So direct seeding is also one of the method where you don't like plant sapling, but you sow a seed and then take care of it and raise that sapling, and which is best for large and low cost reforestation, because here you don't have to spend much, because when we go for pit plantation you have to purchase saplings, and sometimes forest department also have possibility of donating those saplings to grow it in your school campus. Agroforestry is something which is being promoted by both forest as well as agriculture department to get our farmers more income, because this is how where if you have must have seen poplar trees across around the farmlands, they have grown. It is good for rural livelihood, soil fertility. So that was the idea which was introduced to actually encourage farmers to grow plants, to actually have forest as well as farms go hand in hand, and we can like have increased soil fertility, climate resilience as well. The fifth method, which is contour and trench planting, basically used in the areas where mountains, and there is a place where we cannot plant directly at this. There is a no plain area available, which is for used for conserving water and prevent erosion. So these are few methods which we usually see when we do plantation. So many of you must be following traditional pit plantation. Miyawaki is something which is being promoted now to help you to actually generate forest in very less time. So in this picture, you can see one of the school which has actually grown this Miyawaki forest in their campus. I will be touching upon the little bit about Miyawaki method, and you also had a question in the poll that what is that method called? And I think many of you have answered it right. So it is a scientifically proven method which enhances growth by 10 times, and even carbon sequestration is quite high in comparison to traditional plantation. technique was developed by Mr. Akira Miyawaki, and that's why the name came from Miyawaki method, it is called. Usually it is created as a dense multi-layered, like when you have a layer of like tall trees and then there is a little less height trees and then there are shrubby trees. So it is that way we created. And then it's a method to create a diverse and resilient ecosystem, making it self-sustaining and minimal maintenance requirements. So this is how we have this method being promoted in different places. I will request my colleague Parul to share a video link for you to know more about it and to understand Miyawaki method more, because we will not be going much detail about the method. But if you are looking at your place requires, it's a degraded land and you require a plantation which can give you a small we usually call mini forest. So you can create that mini forest in your campus. So I'm just going to share a case study from CE Campus. I think many of you must have visited and many of you have not visited. So the story will maybe may inspire you to come to our campus and see how change has happened. So you could see this GIS map, which and the circled area, which was selected as to create a CE campus. So what you can see in this picture, the surrounded area and the place. Can you share in the chat? What is your first impression? Even for the people who have visited and who have not visited. I can see in the chat. Okay, dry area, okay. So yes, this is a dry area and you can see it's a barren land. And I think recently Anuja talked about different areas and what kind of areas are there. Even Parul talked about different type of soils. So this was completely barren land. And this is 1984, our center was established, and slowly we started working on this patch of land, which was 14.5 acre area. And this was originally a barren area. So Nandini ji was right that it's a dry and then slowly, if you see this particular area started becoming green, and we center started working with the local community, which were actually residing in this area, and it was actually at the outskirts of Ahmedabad, and right now it is in the middle of the city, the way city is growing. So in this very particular area, we started growing native species, different kind of species, and without any kind of care. Like when you say forest means you have planted a tree and then you leave it in that natural condition. You don't do pruning and other things. So that is how this campus was built, and this particular barren area has become a green wooded campus. This is now 2020 ka picture. You can see that now it is the complete patch is different, and it is also in Ahmedabad. The places which are little high, those are called Tekra. So even the address you will see, a CE address is called Thaltej Tekra. So area's name is Thaltej, and the place where it is built is Tekra. That's why the name Thaltej Tekra. And now, if you see, there are more than 100 species of trees besides shrubs and herbs. We have so many birds, animals, and reptiles, insect species. If Gayatri can share about certain species, because in monsoon season, I think we get to see a lot of snakes and peacocks also, that you can listen to peacock sounds every day, and it's so beautiful to enter the campus and see so much diversity. Gayatri?
So we have a lot of snakes, the way ma'am mentioned, no? So even cobras are there and rat snakes are there. And they're like, they're not, they're come in the room, but they're there in the surroundings. And one special thing about CE campus is we don't trim anything. There's no trimming which is being done in the campus. So everything is where it is. Suppose there's a cyclone or no high wind, and when the old trees it falls down, then the tree remains in the same position. Again, entire ecosystem under that tree also. And apart from the snakes, the birds, we do have certain ponds in this campus. So those ponds also attract a lot of water birds. So birds like pond heron are very very common in our campus. We do have a lot of turtles, a lot of fish in our campus. For trees, if we talk about, there are species. So the story that I hear, because there are people who are quite old now and in from kids and CE. So what they say is, because we travel a lot in CE. So what they do is, whenever they go to a new plates of and or sapling from that place which they want in their campus, and then it grows in the campus. So things like matchstick, there's this tree which is famous for making matchstick. So we have a tree for that also. There is this one tree which is used for making actually vodka, but that tree is also there in our campus. So the trees have every tree in the campus has its own story. They have been brought it from different places. We always talk about that it has to be native. So there are trees, but the way ma'am mentioned that the campus is huge, it has such a biodiversity, it has such pleasant conditions for a plant to grow, that a lot of trees actually grow inside. We also have a very old tree which was planted by Vikram Sarabhai, the very first tree of our campus. So it's also the tree of knowledge is also there in our campus. So I think, and different types of palm. So when we talk about palm tree, again, different sizes to the kind of water that the particular tree gets, that is the amount of growth the tree has. So we have nature trees in our campus where children actually see the leaf, the vegetation, everything is quite beautifully explained in the campus that we have. And the way ma'am mentioned about the soil conservation practices, and we do have a rainwater harvesting system. So the way I said that we don't do trimming, so everything is there only, and we don't have a lot of paved area. So the office is made in such a way that none of the trees was anywhere. So trees stand there, and the office is built around it. So if you see the campus, you will be seeing. In fact, there is an office, and inside it there is a huge tree growing in, and there's this evaporation happening, the birds are chirping, and when we are having the meeting, actually right now I'm somewhere outside, but if you are in the office you can actually hear the chirping of the birds from behind because they are there near to us. So it's a beautiful campus to work at. You don't even feel like you're working at. So this is the kind of things that we see in the campus. So trees are there, and again, fruits. So we are not allowed to. A lot of fruit trees are there, like cherry apple is there, wood apple is there, custard apple is there, but we're not allowed to take for the animals which are there. So we have monkeys and peacocks, the way ma'am mentioned. So the animals are supposed to eat those fruits, whatever we have in the campus. We have moringa, and again, moringa is for the animals and birds which are there. So the plantation steps. So this is how CE is what is today. And with that thought, let us go ahead with the plantation steps. So all of us, because it's one Mahotsav which is going on, and plantation is something which is happening, I think, across country, and each and every school, especially the must be doing this plantation. So for plantation, there are a few steps. Good step. The plant survival rate increases because after plantation, we also have to see that it survives. So if we see the first step, that is choose the right location. Just any empty space which is there available and you just start planting. So a place where you have proper sunlight coming in, but in summers it should not have very extreme sunlight. So a place which has proper amount of sunlight, there has to be a space to grow, because if there are already plants and trees growing around it, so every plant needs a specific space to grow, amount of water and sunlight which is required. So have some space around it. And electric wires should not be there, closed wall should not be there, because there are certain trees whose roots will grow and they'll break the wall, they'll not destroy the wall. So try to maintain a distance from the wall and the electric wires. After identifying this place, the second step is to dig pits. Now dig pits, the way ma'am explained in the way of plantation, so you can just dig pits. If it is 1.5 by 1.5 feet, that is optimum. And again, depending on the plant, which kind of plant or sapling you are planting, depending on that, you should dig a pit. But the pit has to be proper one. Even if you don't have time, try to dig a proper pit so that the plant's root can go inside, because that is the common mistake that we do when we have plants in our pots. We don't have enough space and we just plant it, and in few days it's not there. So the pits have to be bigger so that the roots can access the nutrients. Step 3 is to prepare the soil. So once your pit is ready, side by side simultaneously, you need to prepare the soil and the manure. So you need to mix the topsoil, the compost or the organic manure. Maybe you have prepared it from, composting your wet waste from your kitchen or school garden, and then dry leaves. So everything has to be mixed. The plant. So please use plastic bag carefully, not at pieces, but just one cut and then remove the plastic, throw it in the dustbin, and then put it in the pit in the upright position. So once you put it, then your soil mixture is ready. Put that soil mixture inside, and with very soft hands, just press the soil, not very hard, but do not leave any air spaces. So once it is done, water it generously, not flood, but water it properly so that the roots can get water, and then leave it for a few days. So you will see that few initial days, the leaves are going to go down. They will feel like they're dying now. But after a day or two, they will regenerate, and then the water and the nutrients start coming in from the soil. So then they will start becoming a proper sapling. So after watering, also during the watering, please, if you can make a ring out of water, is not spilled anywhere, but it is a proper way to go inside. And the last step is to put mulch around the base. So use dry leaves or straws or wood chips so that the plant retains the moisture and unnecessary weeds are not growing beside it. After that, you also have to provide support. So there are trees, because there will be maybe ants or insects around your campus. So once the tree it's started to grow, your sapling is there, try to give a protective covering to it. So it can be any thing that you can have, a wooden stick with which it is getting this, or a protective guard, green guard you can put, and on green guard put a piece of cloth so that they don't know what is inside it. That way, when the trunk is solid enough to stand on its own, then the tree guard should be removed and the plant should grow on its own. So this is how the plantation steps are there. We should always do our homework before planting even a single sapling. The homework needs to be done, how to go about it. The pre-planning needs to be done. So these were the plantation steps. Now, when we go ahead, so after this, you can see there is a QR code on. There are schools putting a QR code on the tree. So QR code has a lot of benefit. So when you put a QR, it tells you about the tree species it is, because we might not know each and every tree species. So this QR code becomes identity importance of that tree. Plus, it also helps us to make a digital record of what kind of plantations are we having in the campus, how many plants are we having. You can also use this QR code for parents or for any other organization to adopt a tree, or maybe a child is adopting a tree even during their birthdays.
Maybe she's having a bad connection. So she has already explained about the QR code, and many of you must be using for the Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam Ka campaign mein to put a code. So you can look at certain more information while putting it. So we thought that this will be interesting way to while putting the QR code. One more thing which we need to keep in mind, like we should not harm the tree trunk while if you can see the example here, there is a wire used in this particular QR code while putting the this QR code. So you should not nail it. Like initially nailing was used to put name of the plant and other things, but now it is encouraged that we should not harm tree trunk while putting the QR code. So that needs to be we need to be very careful. So while we have talked about plantation and putting QR code, which is today's necessity, using technology. So there is another important thing to use technology, using apps. Like many of us after getting into this field, and we want to identify trees around us, plants, flowers, and things. So we are sharing few of the apps which we use while working in this area. So one of the app I'll share with you is like when you click a photograph, you can see that photograph in your Google Photos in your phone. So where you can open that photo in the Google Photo. So this is example. Choose tree pic or a flower pic from your Google Photos. So here you see this symbol of lens. So if you click lens, though that lens automatically will go on certain objects. You can adjust this lens and then see, and then as soon as you adjust the lens, below this you will get a information about different option about identifying this particular picture which has been used through lens. So once you can go through different pictures and see how much it is matching. You can change the photo pic. While I was identifying it, I changed the location to the ripe seeds one. So this tree I found in Bangalore, and I was very curious, what is this particular species? And then I wanted to know name of this particular species so that to have much more information. And what is this? So then I looked into through Google Lens and then used this app called Flowers of India. So this has information about trees, different flowers, different fruits through that you can identify. It's a scientific based information which you can see. So once you download this app, after knowing the name, you can put that name here, search for a flower or tree. So once you put this name here, you can, then this app will help you to identify. So this is how that this will search will show. So once the search will happen, so I can see that name which emerged from the Google Lens search, Magnolia champaka. So it's a champa tree. So I clicked on this, and this is the information which comes through. So you can get lot of information in terms of names, common names in Hindi, English, Assamese, Manipuri, Uriya, Sanskrit, because this is also contributed by people. Even if you have found good photographs of a particular tree, you can contribute. I have contributed to this app, and those photos are featured because this identifies, it helps in identifying. Also, you can build this particular knowledge base so that people can know about different species while traveling and while even deciding on which plants to plant. Here, if you can see, there is a information given: evergreen, native, it's a tree, leaf size, and then there is information about when does it flower, what is the size, what are the different uses of the species. So all this information you can find about, which can be herbs, shrubs, climbers, and flowers. So this is one app which is available. Another app is the iNaturalist app. Gayatri, are you there? You want to explain this
Yes,
app?
ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah. So iNaturalist app, no, this app you can download from any of the platforms. And the best part of it is you just have to switch on your camera and click the species that you want to know about. So iNaturalist app also has plant and animals both. So plants and animal, insects, everything would be there. The moment you click the photos, you will have to click it. And it can be, if suppose there is a photo in your gallery, it will use that, or you click. So both the options are there. Once you put it, it will automatically tell you about the plant. So what is its name? So it will give you name and the information about this plant. There is also one option where suppose you know about something, then you can put that information, and there will be people who will be, suppose there are certain experts who say that the scientific name has to be like this. So that also commenting happens. You can make your folder where you are putting maybe the insects that you observed or the trees that you observed. It also helps you record videos. So there are you have looked at that information also comes in front of you, that which insects would be there and why are they in this particular tree. So that kind of information also will be available. This is how my iNaturalist work. I saw in the comment even Nandini ma'am mentioned about plants. So this is also an app which is very similar to iNaturalist. Ma'am, can I ask, there is this create QR for the plant. So for that, whichever plant you are having, so in the Google Drive, make folder for plants. There, put information. So you make Word document, or you can connect it to a site from where the information of that particular plant is, or you collect information from different resources and make a Word doc out of it, and put the link of that drive or the website that you are referring to. Make QR code of that. So QR code, again, if you go to Google and tell that you want to make a QR code, they'll give you options for free QR code generator. So QR code generator you can type, then you can make the QR code and put it on the tree.